Good morning. Today we're going to talk about Bash programming, right? So Bash programming is part of the Unix operating system. On Windows, you have DOS and PowerShell. So Bash is one type of shell. So what is a shell? A shell is a way to run programs in your operating system. All right. So there are multiple types of shells on Unix, and one way to pull in the bash shell is to run this command here, and that means I want to run the environment of the bash shell program. So in the bash shell program here, you have a program called echo, and echo prints out information. For example, let's say I have a name, I call it Mike, which is a string, and a string is you have double quotes around it. What I can say is hello dollar name. So the dollar is actually dereferences that name, that variable. So if I run this, it says hello Mike, right? So also it's very good to note that in Bash programming, you have to have executable access on that file. And the way to get that is do chmod plus x and the file name. That would change that permission on that one file to be available. So today we're going to write a very interesting program. I'm going to make a very cool program here today. And today we're going to write a program that would cut a large video to shorts. So if you have a large YouTube video and want to cut it to shorts, you follow this program. So we're going to create a function called show usage, right? That shows the usage of this program. So let's say, for example, I want to echo hi, right? I can invoke it by just calling show usage. Having the function by itself doesn't do anything. So for example, if I go in here and I run it like that, it doesn't show anything. But if I do show usage, right, it does show hi, right? So echo is a one way to show to show an output. In Unix, there's another command called cat, and cat it just lists out the what's in the file or what's in the stream. In this way, in here, for example, cat is saying that I want to I want to kind of only show stuff between this EOF and this EOF, right? So if I run this command, it shows everything between these two EOF delimiter. It's called a delimiter or a tag. So this shows the usage of our program. Basically, we want to split the video to segments, and then we're going to crop the shorts, or we're going to landscape it, do a portrait or blur or all kind of stuff to it. So that's our usage. It's called the usage function. So every time we get an issue, we call the usage function to explain to the user that, hey, there is an issue. You need to take steps to fix that issue. So for any program, we create these variables, right? So basically what we want to say is, if we want to split the video, we tell the program, we have a kind of, we tag, like I make a note to ourselves that say, hey, we want to split that video. We want to create a short, or want to create cropped short, or landscape short, or blur short, or portrait short. We have the kind of different kind of markers that we create for ourselves. So in the program, we know what the user kind of picked for us, right? So we know what the user picked, and we follow that. Now, but how do you actually get the permissions? How do you actually get the values, right? Use this command called get opts here, and we specify all the values, all the arguments that we need to show here. So in here, we're specifying that we can take an S argument, a C argument, and an L, B, and P, and P and B and H, right? So what's an argument? What does it look like? This is an argument. This is what a program argument looks like, right? So if I click this, it actually prints all these options together, right? So all these options are, so what I want to do now is actually I want to I want to set these variables, these markers, depending on the options. What I do is I create a case statement, right? And I create a case statement here that it's that basically looks at that option value and then kind of take action. So case dollar option, right? In, and I say, well, if it's in B, then create. That means I want to create a blurred shorts, and I set that to 1, right? Else, if it's a C, I want to create crop shorts, and I set that to 1. If it's a if it's an H, right? Actually, H is our help, right? So if it's our help, I want to do show usage, right? And continue on to the next one. I actually want to exit because maybe just somebody wanted to look at the code and that's it. I want to look at the help and move on to the next one. If it's an L, that means I want to create landscape shorts, and let's just set that to 1. And if it's a P, let's not forget our single quotes here. And if it's a P, I want to set create portrait shorts to 1 and continue on to the next one and make sure here. And if it's split videos, we want to split initially we want to split the video first, and then kind of split the videos is equal to 1. So that means we basically, and anything else, which is a catch-all version, we want to show the usage and we want to exit. Okay. And we end our case statement with, so it's a spelled case backwards. So if we look at our code here, a little bit here, so let me make it a little bit smaller. This is our case statement. It creates the option, it sets these values here for us, depending on what we pick, right? So let's print these out, and let's pass in values, and let's print them out, okay? So I'm gonna add an echo statement that would print all of them for us here. Okay. So here's our echo statement. So if we pass these values, I want to see ones being set, and it does. So the split video is set to 1, the create of crop short set to 1, the landscape short is set to 1. B is for the blurred. So I don't have this here. Let me add the blurred. So we're printing out the values that we just, and that's a good programming thing to do, is actually print out your program every once in a while to run. Let me just, yeah, you print out your program every once in a while that you run here. So once we have everything we need to actually do some error checking because our program only accepts specific criteria on these variables. Like I cannot do multiple shorts operation on these variables. I can only do a few operations on them, right? So what I want to do is actually add some more checking here. So I've created a value called summed options here. So here I'm adding all these together, and I'm seeing how many are being passed in. Okay, so I was seeing how many is passed in here. I was just a quick error checking. And to do error checking in Bash, you use the F statement. And I'm going to add a couple of F statements here. So I'm saying that if some of the option is bigger than 2, then you can only use only one of the crop blurred options. That means it has to be split videos. So split video is set, say split video is equal to 0, right? Then I want to say that you cannot really continue on. because you have to split the video first and show the usage again, right? And then we want to exit with a -1, indicating that it's a wrong. There's an error in the program. And if the option is bigger than two, then that means you can only pick only split video and one of these options. So it means it's incorrect. And if there was no options is passed, that means so the sum of the options adds everything of these together, right? So I'm checking the sum of everything. And I'm saying if this actually is equal to zero, then I basically exit the program. And let's go ahead and check our error checking. So error checking is very important here. So I'll pass this in, and it says can only use one of the crop, blur, or portrait landscape. So this should be okay here. One S, one C. So we're fine. How about only the split videos? You can only split videos, which is fine. How about if we use dash, if we pass nothing, that means it's still an error. So which is good. So our program is behaving the way, so this is called like the rules. So in a program, you have the rules that checks the user input. The user's input is the arguments to this program and the video. So the video is actually being passed as the last argument. The split size is passed as a second argument here. So next step was actually we're gonna make a note here called a split video. And to make a comment, you can make any comments in here. You can put any characters in shell programming, which is commented out. Okay, so that's how you comment video. So we need to split the video here. So in order to split the video, we need to actually specify a hash. So a hash is a way to tell the program that this is a unique run. So when we split the video one time, we know what files have that hash. It's very important to know what file have the hash because we want to do operations on these files later. So it's very important to kind of know what we want to do. So what we want to do here is actually first we want to specify uh, the video location. So we're going to say that the file name is actually $4. So if we go here, the file is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the file name, and the segment size is actually the second one here. So the segment size too. So how do I get a random number? So in every system is unique. In this case, I'm using the dev random. In Unix, you can use random. So if you click here, right, you get a unique different random number. So when I split the file, I know where I put that split, where the hash value of that split is. So I can use that in my split command. So now here's a split command. The split command is actually simple here. I'm taking the video file name, right? I'm splitting by the segment side, and I'm adding the hash value to all the output, right? So that ensures that I split the file. But we want to check. What if the user didn't pass the dash C option? What if okay? So if the user didn't pass the dash S option, right? So let's go back, and if the user didn't pass the dash S option, right, the argument will be 0. What if we just pass the dash C option and then pass the dash S option? Do you wanna kind of error the user? Let's say you wanna. So sometimes you have to make like requirements. If he split the videos or he cropped the video, what if you just say you didn't pass the video? What if you just say don't split the video? Do you want to split the video anyway? So it's an assumption you have to make in your program. And in this case, I'll make that assumption that say we're going to split the video anyway. Otherwise, you can put this in an F statement and say, well, hey, we need to actually check. We need to actually check that. So we can use this one here. We can actually check here that hey, we didn't put the split value that we needed, that we expected, and we show the usage. Or say if it's not equal, if it's bigger than 0, right? If it's bigger than 0, or if it's equal to 1, then only run this program, right? So, okay, we're actually checking that on the top. I'm very sorry. We're actually checking that value on the top. I already forgot what program. But I check. We're actually checking. We're actually checking that the split video has to be set. So we're already setting that. So we're good here. So this will split the video. It will add the hash to the output, And well, let's see what it looks like if we actually pass a video here. Um, so one sec, let me get a video and pass it in here. This is a large file split. So let's just say we want to split the video. We want to do dash s dash c, and let's see what happens here. So it's saying that I didn't specify any file name, so it doesn't know the directory structure that I passed. So basically, I'm going to say video, that video, and I'm going to make the segment to 720 seconds. So that one now is able to split the video and actually added the hash that we wanted. So if I do an ls here, ls means list. I can see all the MP4 and the original file. So what we want to do is actually create a folder here called content. I move video 2 into that content, right? So that way we just, when we do rm start.mp4, just between the runs, we don't destroy our content v2 mp4, right? So we split the video, it's working fine. So the next stage is actually listing out the hash. So that hash is really cool because once you split the video, you know what the hash value is in your program. And what you want to do is get that value and print out the hash listing here. So if I go here, what I'll do is I'll list the hash value that I created for that one. So it actually links that run, the ffmpeg run, with the script because only the script knows the hash value. So if I list the hash value and I print it out, it will give me all the hash value MP4 that I just created. So let's just run this program here. Okay. So it says it doesn't know, did it actually create anything? Oh, okay. It didn't create. Oh, yeah, because I moved the video to the content folder. I have to actually put that here. Content video tmp4, and it actually does show the array now that everything is fine. Okay, so once I have that's removed, then I know what the value of the array is. I can actually comment that code out. I don't have to run it every time. Having echo commented out is a good programming practice. It's fine, but if it's not overwhelming, if it's not like a large array, then it's best to have it in a separate function where it's not interfering with your program. It's just a good programming habits. The next stage is actually we want to iterate over these. We want to iterate over the files, and we want to do stuff with it. We want to actually perform the cropping on it, right? So we want to do the cropping, and that's called a for loop, right? It says for I is in the array of files. We want to do that, right? So let's go ahead and print that. See what that looks like when that runs here, and it should list them out in a separate program here. So what happened here is that it Bash shell saw $I was a program. So because it thinks that the first entry is a program. So if I do echo, it will let me just remove the MP4s I created here. And if I do echo instead of it, it actually prints out the file here, which is better. Now what I want to do is actually I want to do the different ffpmg programs that get run over here into that section. So if I look at the crop here, so I had all these f statements now for all these values here. So it will go through and crop them. Actually, here's a cropping, and what it will do is I add the prefix these MP4 files with a crop short or padding or different kind of style of things. So let me just show you guys. So this is actually different. These are the markers that we create, the arguments that gets passed by the user. Now we check them in that to perform the cropping on each of the file, and that's a for loop control that we create here. So let's go ahead and try to run it and let's see what happens. So let's go ahead and start here. So right now it's actually cropping the video. So I'm going to open the side here. I'm going to show you the original uh, video, what it looks like. What's really cool about Visual Studio Code is that there's an extension here uh, that allows you to run MP4. It's called MP4 Preview, and you should install that. It allows you. So what Visual Studio is very nice. It allows you to see. Uh, it allows you to create extensions. It allows you to see all these annotation, different coding that you see on the screen, the different color coding here, the F4 statement, the I, the variables. So the kind of purplish, kind of pinkish color is the control statements. The variables are declaration is in white. The dereferencing, it's called when you actually use the variable is called dereferencing. That's actually in blue, which is very nice. So one of the shorts is finished. So let's go ahead and try to open it. As you can see, it's cropping a section of the short and creating a YouTube shorts for you. So thank you for watching with me. Subscribe to my channel so I can create an awesome content for you. Thanks so much. Have a good day.